very nice to see everybody, or not see, but know that you're there. And let's get started. A little bit about us. My name is Dani. I've been working in product since 2013, and the last 5 years I started to specialize in growth. I've been doing very interesting things at Tier, which is a scooter company, Did.io, video editing platform, and now joined an early stage startup of just 10 people. And it's a big change because my previous companies were like multiple hundreds, but it's nice to get my hands dirty some of the time. So that is what I'm doing right now with Tactic.io. And Katya, over to you.
Cool, thank you. Really excited to be here and share with all of you this topic. My name is Katia Suchkova, and I've been in product management for more than 12 years, mainly focusing on B2B enterprise, such as ServiceNow, and B2B high growth startups, such as 15Five, that I've seen grow in 3x during my time being there. In the last several years, I moved into coaching product leaders, specifically first-time leaders, and working on boosting their confidence as well as knowledge around that. And very recently become a Reforge course creator, as well as consultant for product strategy for startups under 10 AR. And with that, let's move on to our actual content. We will have plenty of time for Q&A after our presentation. And what we will cover today is what seems like an important topic. We've got a lot of registrations, as well as all of you joining today, but also based on my experience, seems like an important theme to cover. So we're going to talk about what it actually means to be a visible senior product manager and be strategic, how to identify a meaningful initiative to lead, and finally, how do you actually lead and successfully deliver that initiative? All of them are pretty important topics, and we'll try our best to cover them, as well as touch on some of the questions and themes that some of you mentioned in our survey that went out a few days ago, which is, thank you very much for all of your feedback on that. Cool. So let's start with the first one. What it actually means to be visible in the PM world. So it's actually very simple, but to the regular eye, it's not as it's very difficult for us to see what might differentiate PM who is visible, who gets all the resources, they get some accomplishment being announced, they get promotions really quickly. But there is one big difference, simple yet big difference, that they possess, is that they do impactful work. They work on the initiatives that are company critical. They lead big cross-functional projects on top of their daily PM work, such as discovery and delivery. And let's say maybe 95% of us kind of would fall into this most PM group. But if you know the secret, if you can get yourself to do that impactful work, it will get you to be more visible and strategic in the eyes of your management and leadership. To give you also a better idea about visibility, we brought out this really telling quote from Harvard Business Review on how can you think about visibility? So they really talk about kind of in the theme of the party. Hey, there is an invitation, and then you go, you participate, you dance with everyone, and then people would invite you more. You can draw the parallel to the high school. That happens exactly the same way. You don't have to be the most popular kid in the school, but if you have visibility, you're most likely seen, you are respected. And you valued. You not just in your class, but in your grade and in the school. You get invited to the important events, not just school parties, and by your teachers and maybe professors, etc. And then you are visible. From the workplace perspective, it's the same. As a product manager who is visible, you most likely get asked about your perspective and ideas on the roadmap. Hey, what type of features, what do you think our customers are struggling with the most? You get an invitation to actually run specific projects. Like, hey, it looks like you've done really good research here. Can you help us can you support other teams in doing that? And then validation part, where management or other team members come to you again and ask you, hey, you did so well in this last time. Can we work together? We have this problem. Let's address it together. And so from that perspective, we want to pause here really quickly and do a really quick Zoom poll. And please answer. It's a multiple choice, but please answer, provide a maximum 2 choices. So what do you find the most challenging based on the visibility that I've just shared? Is it getting invited to the table or discussions where some of the important decisions are made? Maybe participating and contributing impact, or getting validation and recognition of your efforts?
That's a pretty interesting split. It seems that most of the people are interested in being invited, so being heard, and then getting validation, which is the topic of this meeting, is to get the visibility. Pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually didn't see the breakdown. Thank you for bringing up, Dani. Cool. Then we'll move on. We'll take those insights and move on to talking about what you can actually start doing to get that visibility. So, most of us, many of us, including myself, in the past, I would be doing what I thought was a great work, and it was a great work as a product manager. I was getting valued by my leader, but I was quietly waiting for promotion, being modest about sharing my results, or quietly waiting for opportunity. So we want you to really consider that and really stop doing that. There is no reason to just sit and wait, because opportunities come to those who proactively looking for them. Hoping that management or leadership will notice you. Yes, you can hope, and sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. So I encourage you to bring a little bit boldness and share your results, your work more broadly. So instead of that, we'll invite you to actually invite yourself to the table of discussions, and we'll talk a little bit more on how to do that in a presentation. Start participating and delivering impact by leading those high stakes initiatives. We encourage you to improve your communication and really broadly communicate about your progress and successes, as well as asking about validation from your management and from your leadership, so that you are being kept invited to the party. And let's start with, how do you actually invite yourself? So your goal at this first step is to really identify a strategic opportunity that you can lead. So it sounds simple, but it might not be that simple. First, really get good at what you do as a product manager. There is really no way around it. So first, excel at your day-to-day work. If you are struggling with your stakeholders, with your partner, with your engineers, partner, designers, if there are some problems on the team, if you're tired, if you are not leveling up to the level that your manager expects you, take a pause. It's not a good time for you to do that. But first, make sure that you do really good. Do a gut check, ask yourself, am I doing great? But also ask for feedback from your team members as well as from your manager. After that, carve out some time. We can talk a little bit more about it if someone is interested in the Q&A session, but really think about how might you find a little bit more time on top of your PM work to do that, to really lead those impactful initiatives that we've mentioned in our one of the first slides. And finally, we really encourage you to get closer to the business side of things. So this is really your opportunity to start joining all hands meetings, listening, if you're in a public company, listening to the earning calls, meet with the leaders and the heads of other departments, specifically such as finance, operations,
Oh, I think we lost Katia, right?
I think so too.
Okay. It's good that we have two speakers. I can take over for a while and see when she comes back. Sorry about that. So joining those meetings, you need to learn about how the company is making money. You need to understand how your team contributes to making money, because making visible impact is actually delivering business impact. So you need to understand the customer, the market, and where it's going. Basically, to find the opportunity that you can lead means you need to listen and gather a lot of signals, process them, and find the one where you can plug yourself. The signals are coming in all sorts of different shapes. You have internal signals from within the company, which is your knowledge. What do you know about your product area, your customers, your features, and what are the gaps? Something is known by your manager, and they know more about the group strategy. And you can ask them what keeps them up at night and what are their plans for the quarter and long-term vision. Same goes for senior leadership, and that's what you can gather without leaving the company doors. You can read it in Slack, you can join the calls, all hands, all of that is available. If you're in a company that's a bit transparent, you can get this information, especially as a PM, because you're so close to the business. External signals are the market, what happens outside of the company, so new technologies, trends, economic shifts, and so on. And of course, your competition, which is probably going to be the least important topic, because you should not follow your competition blindly. They have a different business model, users, and so on. But it's very good to see what they're launching, their marketing activities, if they're aggressively expanding in a specific region or not. So if you gather those signals, you will probably get a good understanding of what the company needs and how can you contribute to that. And if you do that, you become a visible PM. Next Zoom poll is to ask you, where do you actually struggle right now? So you're working in a company, and the company has priorities, revenues, KPIs, and target users. And which of those things give you the most trouble, or where do you need the most support? So let's go to the Zoom poll, and it will appear in a sec. Yeah, I think it's going right now. Cool. Please, as usual, it's multiple choice, but don't pick everything. Oh, okay.
Yeah, looks like we have a winner. And Danny, thank you for taking over. Looks like my Zoom dropped for a few seconds.
No worries.
Okay, so we have talking with leadership on equal footing. Yeah, that's a big one. I think that's a winner so far.
Yeah, we also received this in the survey that we sent before the presentation. That was one of the most upvoted questions, and also a few people added their own custom answers. So we're going to definitely take it in the Q&A. Okay, let's continue here. Katia, you here?
Yep, thank you. Yeah,
okay,
I can
step 2.
Cool. So step 2, how do you participate in that party that you got invited to, or you invited yourself by identifying an opportunity? So first of all, your goal, and really think about it, is bringing meaningful impact to your company. There are different ways to measure it, and we can dive in a little bit deeper during Q&A session. But let's just decide you're creating a meaningful impact for your company. So with that, what to actually do to achieve that goal. First of all, shape the opportunity. We're going to talk a little bit more during the session. Danny will cover how to do that, but really think about, so you discovered the opportunity based on the signals that we've covered. Let's say you joined all the meetings, you have a really good perspective on what market is talking about your company, and you kind of have a few ideas or opportunities you can start tackling. Well, choose one, pick one that you have the most influence over, because sphere of influence is very important when trying to define what you can tackle and the amount of impact that this particular initiative can deliver. And define the solutions. You really need to outline what this initiative will create if you solve the problem. The second, which is a very important step, is that as product managers, as leaders, we don't do work alone. A lot of it depends on building up a really good good team. So really think about finding or securing commitment for people who are, first of all, having the same problem, or maybe they just really inspired and excited to solve this problem with you for whatever reasons. Maybe it's going to help to advance their careers. Maybe they will learn something. Maybe they've done a similar initiative and then they're here to help and support you. So find those accolades and advocates of you. And finally, really pitch your plan, pitch your idea, and deliver it with success, really flawlessly. A really important thing, and that's what came up in the poll, is Sometimes there are not just managers that we need to get a buy-in, but other stakeholders, maybe VP level, so a couple of levels higher that we need to align with. So that's why first you shape the opportunity where you show how you would do it and what impact it generates. And you also tell those people that, hey, I already have a team to really work on that. And this is your chance to secure resources if you need more support, or just get support from leadership. So nothing really stops you as you start executing on that. So let's start with shaping opportunity. What does it mean to really shape it, to find the solutions to that? So we encourage you to think about opportunities as there are two types. First of all, there is a product work, and you meet with those opportunities every day. Maybe there is a product restructuring, there is a portfolio of products now instead of a product line, and then you can add an extra product, solve a problem, add a feature. Maybe there is a cross-team initiative that spans across different teams. So this is really in your product work domain. And this is great to work on those opportunities if you're trying to move somewhere from being product manager to senior product manager. You will work on maybe multiple products, maybe run different types of initiatives. So really think about it. If I'm today a product manager, how do I get to senior product manager? Well, run impactful projects in your product work. And the second, if you're really looking to grow into a group product manager, really get onto that leadership path, think about processes. What type of processes can you work on to remove roadblocks, to deliver something very impactful? And there are different types. Let's say there are issues with stakeholders. There is miscommunication. They always want something. They're not aligned. They're questioning you. Maybe your company is growing really fast and the knowledge still sits in the people's heads. So this is your opportunity to scale that knowledge, and every company does struggle with that, no matter the size. So there is always going to be opportunity in that domain. And finally, think about the team, your product team, maybe your entire R&D team, and the ways of working. There are almost always ways to improve how your team communicates internally. If there is a culture, if there is a vision, coherent vision, how does your team work with others and contribute to solving the problem in this domain? So this is your path to leadership. And with that, let's pause again. And we are curious which opportunities out of the ones that we mentioned really resonate with you the most. Is it building a high impact product feature with my team? Bridging several teams together, improving stakeholder trust, making knowledge available, reusable, or defining team purpose? And again, if you have more than one, please include 2 choices maximum so we can see a good distribution. Okay, so building a high impact product feature with my team so far is winning. Okay. And I'm not surprised because
with the second one.
Yeah, I'm actually not surprised about the first one because of course we are product managers. Like that would resonate the most because that's what we do really good and most of the time. And the second one, bridging several teams and leading a joint initiative. Okay, yeah, especially if you're in a big company, you're most likely familiar with that. You're working with another team sister. Okay, and list.
Cool.
Making knowledge available and reusable. Okay, great. So with that, Dani, I'm gonna pass to you so that you can talk about opportunities and what it actually means to
we prepared
a team and etc.
We prepared a few case studies for you. Luckily, they match with the poll. So the first one is going to be all from the tier. I worked there for 3 years. Initially, I joined as senior product manager and then got promoted to group PM and then got promoted to head of product growth. That took me 3 years. So it was a very interesting journey. I saw the company scale 10x from 20 annual million revenue to 200 million annual revenue. So at the time when I joined, it was 200 people. Scooter startup, very similar to Lime and Spin in the US. And the first case that I want to bring you is to have an isolated feature. So I joined just a few months ahead of the pandemic, and it was beginning of the year. And in January, the company, the CEO of the company presented the revenue goals, what we want to achieve. I think it was 2020, right? Pandemic started then. And then 2 or 3 months later, it starts and nobody commutes or rents our scooters and the revenue drops. So every team gets a mandate to get revenue in any way we want. And they said you can be very creative in what you're doing. So we started brainstorming, and I saw this as an opportunity. I was working as a senior PM in the payments team, and payments was pretty boring back then. It was just operational team processing credit cards and PayPal. So nothing really, but it's connected to revenue. I thought, okay, let's think what else we can do with revenue. So initially we came up with an idea to start selling monthly passes for our scooters as a monthly subscription. So you would buy something to, it's probably going to cost you $5 per month, and you get 5 rides for free, and then a few bonuses on top, something like that. So we came up with this idea, decided to test it in a few cities, launch softly. It took us 1 quarter to develop everything and run it as a launch, and we had really good results. It became successful. We saw 10% revenue increase. We rolled it out to more cities. We again observed 10% revenue increase, and we rolled it out to every single market and every single city. So it was just product work. It was not planned. It was the initiative that we came up from the team. It was pretty successful, pretty impactful. And because everybody was so pumped about revenue, like I started posting them progress results with our discovery calls, with our MVPs, with our first designs every 2 weeks or so. I was sending this directly to the group of stakeholders, which included our senior leadership, and everybody was excited about subscriptions because it's a new revenue stream. It's recurring revenue. So that is an example of a feature that you can take. It was not directly part of my team responsibility. As I said, we were processing payments, credit cards, and PayPal. And we decided, okay, why don't we build a subscription engine? Turned out it was a really good idea. After that, a couple of quarters later, maybe half a year later, I heard another opportunity. So the leadership team said, like, pandemic is more or less under control, and we should start integrating with the public transportation so that our customers have a combo. They use a scooter to get to the subway station, they take a train, and then they go out and take another scooter, and it's all one bundle. So we should be integrated with public transportation, because then the city is going to pay us money for that, and it's going to be a nice branding and PR initiative that we can talk about. So marketing said that we're on board. We have partners. We've been talking to cities for a long time that really want it, but we don't have tech resources because we are marketing, which is very usual. So that was an opportunity and assigned to me, and I said, hey, by the way, a couple of months ago, we developed those passes that we are saying that you're going to get 5 rides for free every month. Why don't we create a special pass that is branded with the city and municipality logo or railway logo, and start selling it in our shop and see if that gets traction? Everybody was on board. It was kind of close to our area, but we made one more step and said, okay, we'll do that. We're going to support marketing. We're going to form a task force for this quarter, build it together. We delivered in Q3. Unfortunately, it was not super popular. So this was the initiative that everybody liked, but it didn't work out. So we didn't roll it out. And that was a little bit of a unfortunate, because you, of course, want to have a success record where everything that you're doing is bringing extra revenue and impact, but it doesn't happen that all the time. So I continued my journey with Tier. And at some point, there was another opportunity, which is the third one, and the one that I think took also the third place in our poll when you upvoted. It's a stakeholder inclusion. So the thing is, we've been working with this marketing team, and they were pretty happy what we've been doing. And the passes, as I said, were rolled out to every single city, every single market, and we started promoting them heavily. Our marketing team can advertise and sell the passes, and they have specific revenue goals, but they can't do it with specific features, like they want to have discounts, or they wanted to have yearly passes or quarterly passes, lots of stuff. So they ask us to build all that stuff so that they can reach their goals. And so, like, is it really a nice partnership, because we're building stuff, but they're reaching their goals? And what are our goals? What about things that we care about in products, such as activation, feature penetration, stickiness? And in the end, I said, like, we should approach it differently. We should introduce a set of shared KPIs, so that product is also responsible for revenue. And if we hit it, both product and marketing will claim the results, and marketing should be also responsible for retention and pass penetration and so on. Because if we achieve it, then both teams can celebrate, and that will bring us closer together, so we will be aligned. I pitched this idea, and they said, okay, can you make it happen? Can you run a workshop and do that? So I did a joint planning between product and marketing. We aligned our roadmaps, and we kind of became one department for a quarter. It was pretty successful. We did get here good results and traction. We achieved our goals that we wanted. And in the end, I think in 1 quarter after that, we decided to merge together. So marketing team said, like, we have great commercial skills. You have fantastic product and technical and customer skills. Let's combine it. And we pitched this idea to the senior leadership, and we formed a product growth department, which was the moment when I was promoted to head of product growth to lead that. So this was the opportunity when I brought stakeholders into the game. And if you can see, shaping the opportunity sometimes comes as a chance. It's not always like I did it deliberately, but sometimes it was those signals that I listened from the leadership, from the market, like what's happening, and reacted to them in a timely manner. If you show impact, if you do it in a visible way, it's going to be recognized by the leadership. So that's how you increase your footprint in the company. So basically, those are examples what I've done and worked for me. I think building a high impact visibility feature, bridging closer to teams, and then maybe forming a unit is something that you can try as well in your organization. When you have found this idea by listening to signals, you need to assemble a team. And Katia already mentioned that the best way to assemble a team is to find people who share the same idea or pain or dream with you. So that really will depend on your idea. If you picked a feature or something that's product and heavy related, probably that's going to be your product team. You need to convince your designers and engineers to work with you on this initiative because it's pretty cool, impactful, and will bring revenue to the company. If you decided to pick an idea that's from the process bucket, something like bringing departments together or reorganizing knowledge or defining team culture and mission and KPIs, you need to have a cross-functional team. If you're bridging a couple of departments together, you need to have yourself and another person from another department who will be on your team. It's impossible to change the process of another team without somebody from that team being part of this initiative. So for product work, probably is going to be your technical team. For process work, you build a new cross-functional team. I think the best size is 2 or 3 people. You don't need to have 5 or 10. It's too much. And then you would be the person who's leading that because that's your idea that you're pitching and you're getting buy-in from the managers. The cool thing about that everything that we shared until this point, such as listening to signals, coming up with an idea, assembling a team, working out the impact, you don't need a permission for that. You can start doing that already right now. If you spend 1 hour every day and you work 1 hour less on your product responsibilities, to be honest, in the 90% of the cases, nobody will notice that. But you can use this 1 hour to listen to signals, find out what's the company direction and how you can plug yourself in, start talking to people who else would like to join and deliver this initiative, and then gather a group that is committed and you have already a plan and a team to deliver that. So you don't need to ask your manager or VPs or C-level if you should be doing that or not. Just do the prep work yourself, because then when you go and start pitching your idea, you will come completely prepared. This is the nice part. When you talk to your managers, and this is one of the most upvoted things, the question was, how do I actually do it and convince them? The goal is to talk their language, and their language is business speak. You should be not pitching this like, we need this feature because it's going to make our life better, or users have requested this a lot, or competitors have it. Like, it doesn't really make sense. It's not how you make decisions. If you're working in the company whose goal is to make more profits and scale and get better market share, they're going to be talking about revenue, users, retention, suppliers, transactions, or whatever it is that will be corresponding to the commercial success of the company. So if you want to talk to senior leadership, you need to say, I have an idea how we can get more revenue. To do that, we need to deliver those features, and it will work because, and this is why, you need to think it through and give them ideally a calculation or a spreadsheet where it's going to be a few formulas, a few numbers that will tell you that if we improve this onboarding flow, it will reduce the friction and 2% more of people will finish the sign up. If we do that, they will connect this integration, and this integration is a paid one, so we're going to get more revenue from that. If you can show your leadership how exactly this will translate into revenue, they will give you buy-in. And if in the end you say, hey, by the way, I already have a team, either my product team, my technical team is ready to build it and we know how, or you say, I build a cross-functional unit that is ready to do this marketing launch and we will support them. It's almost impossible for the leadership to say no, because you come prepared, you have business strategy behind it, and everything is almost ready. The only thing they need to say is, yes, go do that. So this is the pitching of your idea in a very short way. Once you've pitched it, you need to deliver it. This is the probably most difficult part, because you never know if you're going to be successful or not. But if you do it publicly, even if it's not successful, people will still remember that you've put a lot of effort and they will associate your name with somebody who's proactive, transparent, responsive, and generally a good product person to rely on. And this is what you want to become more visible and strategic. To be public, you need to start talking about it. You need to announce it, that there is a new initiative, you're running it, this is the team, those are the KPIs and the goals, and this is the plan. Do that on Slack, do it during all hands, whatever you can get access to. Don't be shy, get in front of the people and tell them what you're going to be doing. After that, you actually need to deliver. So you have a scoping, kickoff and planning, you have maybe milestones and steps, share the results with them, share that you aligned on this and this is what you're doing. It's in the scope, this is what you're not doing. And those would be the milestones. And this is the risk management strategy. Like really do the hard work. It's project management, it's product management, but this is where you will shine. If you do it properly and share your progress every couple of weeks, people know that what you're saying is happening and sometimes what you're doing is working. So be honest about it, be honest with yourself and go out in front of people and say that this is what we are doing and keep them informed and tag relevant people, even if they're VPs or C-level. Like those who are impacted by this one, they should know about the progress. The key is to do it consistently and not shy away from it. And here I would like to make another breakout to ask, where do you struggle the most right now? So finding the right opportunity, inspiring people to join you with authority without leading them directly, calculating impact, getting buy-in. I think we asked the same, some of the questions about talking to leadership, so I would not be surprised if we get the same responses, but it's interesting to see where do you consider that you need your help right now after hearing the last 5 to 10 minutes of our presentation. Okay, 60 people have voted. It's pretty good. The number one right now is calculating expected impact. The number two is being public about your impact. Okay, so what I can say to you, that being public about your impact, you just have to do it. You will get better once you do it more. You need to step over the imposter syndrome and just talk about it. Don't promise anything. Say, this is what we are doing and this is the plan. And I will keep you updated and posted whenever we have changes every 2 weeks on this channel. That's the only thing that you need to do. Don't promise anything. Don't sell it. Don't say it's going to be fantastic and it's going to change your life. Like, be very dry at the beginning. It's the safest strategy, and just inform them, tell them what's happening. When it comes to calculating the impact, you really need to understand how the company is making money. You need to know the KPI trees. You need to go and look at your mix panel, Looker, Amplitude, or whatever you use for reporting. Find out how your changes to a specific screen or flow will contribute, what's going to be the uplift, how will it impact the entire chain, and turn it in the end into dollars. If you can't do it by yourself, that's okay. Find somebody from the finance team, ask them for help, and sit down with them for 1 or 2 hours. Say, like, I would like to do this idea. I would like to understand how much revenue it will bring, but I have no idea how to do that. Can you help me? So if something you don't know how to do and it's a skill that you're missing, ask for help. That finance people are working with numbers all the time, and they actually are nice and friendly. I've made so many good friends from legal, finance, and accounting teams. And surprisingly, they're not surprising, but they're really good with what they're doing. And they are happy to help you, especially if your ideas are pretty interesting and innovative. So this is what you can do to focus on those 2 points. And next step. So you've identified the idea by listening to signals. You came up with a plan and you assembled a team and you pitched it to a manager. Hopefully you delivered it with impact. What do you do next? It's not the end, it's success, but you need to demand validation and recognition. Your goal here is actually to claim your visibility and to be recognized as a strategic PM who is thinking big picture and slowly expand your footprint. Because maybe at the beginning as a senior PM, you're just responsible for your team of engineers and designers, it may be 5 to 10 people, and that's it. What you want to do with your career is to accumulate expertise, get better at delivering high impact initiatives, and slowly expand your footprint, which meaning that you get more resources, which could be either budgets or teams or responsibilities. That is what you want to advance your career. The first thing that you should do once you've delivered something, you need to pitch the next steps. So we did this initiative. That's what I did. Like we delivered this shop with subscriptions, and it worked. This is the next thing that we should be doing. For me, it was partnering with marketing. It was a very interesting opportunity, so I'll pitch that. Whatever you do, it should not be a one-off. There should be a logic, a strategy. That's what makes you strategic. One step leads to the next one, to the third one, and all together they make sense because they're a system. So you need to pitch the next idea always and keep doing that. If you deliver one such initiative every quarter, such as high impact single feature or cross-team collaboration or alignment with stakeholders or something else, if you do one big change like that every quarter, that becomes a well-developed muscle and a habit, and things will start get better. And of course, if you deliver them with success, okay, what I'm doing is clearly working, I can do more, and it's going to work as well, but I need more resources. For example, a better title, more responsibilities, or more team members, or more teams. That's a very correct way of asking for a promotion. It's not just because I'm good and I can do more. You can say like, I've done a lot and I can do even more. And you can see that there is my track record and what I'm doing is working. So if you do this continuously and pitch your idea and deliver and pitch the next idea and deliver, it's going to be a self-reinforcing loop where everybody will know that you're visible, you're always doing something pretty interesting. Every 2 weeks you post updates. Sometimes it doesn't work and that's okay. But most of the time it should be at least positive. And then it's going to be a self-reinforcing loop that will help you be and stay strategic and visible and get a better title and a promotion opportunity at your company. As I said, doing that will make you stand out more than 85% of the other PMs, because the rest of the PMs, they're just managing the backlog, they're delivering features, and they're doing the work. You need to do impactful and strategic work, but for that, you need to understand what the company needs, what the customers need. It's quite a lot, but if you start doing that on a small scale, it's manageable. And then you can go for bigger projects after that. That's a lot of information. We tried to squeeze it into a small presentation, but as you can see, it's a lot, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. You know, running those initiatives is quite demanding and challenging, especially if you've never done before. It's great to have a supporting manager if you have it. If you don't have a manager, maybe try to find a mentor or reach out online. But the good thing is, it's very difficult to try or to fail. Even if something doesn't work, it means you can try it again, and you need to start building the skill, and it will come to you with the more you try it. So we have a little bit of time right now, and would like to discuss your questions and cases. I think we had this Q&A functionality. So Eleanor, what is happening there right now, and how much time do we have for until the rest of the call?
Yeah, so technically we have 5 minutes, but I'm happy to go over like until the end of the hour if you have time. Otherwise, we can.
Yeah, I have time too. Yeah, we have quite a few questions, so it'd be nice to cover them. Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna say for 20 minutes. Whenever you want to go, feel free to go. The main content part is done.
Cool. Cool. So let's. I want to make sure first we address the existing questions, and if if we have a little more time left after that, we can always go back to our survey. So there's a question that got 10 upvotes, kind of an interesting one. Introverts doomed for senior PM roles. I wonder, well, if anyone wants to talk a little bit more about it, but given it's anonymous, maybe not. But if you are, would you mind coming in and sharing a little more? I'll give you a few seconds if you are. Okay, no. Difficult to talk about without context, but looks like, again, quite a few people have voted. So we should address that. Introverts, I'm an introvert myself. I found later on that this is a big strength because I'm actually able to become a little bit more self-aware and go inward to understand, to see more than other people do. Let's say that. Kind of read between the lines, etc. I do think introverts is actually a great advantage point for many senior PMs. Sure, you have to be in lots of meetings. There's a lot of going on. You might be draining or losing energy, but find what works for you to replenish that energy. If that's a question specifically about, I'm getting tired of leading teams. Find what energizes you. Create the quiet time. Manage your calendar really well so that you can manage your energy really well and understand people who bring more energy and others who drain your energy. In general, I think I've met more leaders introverts than extroverts. Sure, there are some who are very charismatic and outgoing, but in my experience, this were the minority. Dani, you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you covered it pretty much. I think being introvert could be powerful if you know that this is your type of personality and you just leverage the communications the way it's comfortable for you. Like, don't try to be somebody else. People who are visible and strategic and impactful and get promotion, they're first of all authentic. So I don't think that introverts are doomed. I've seen a lot of people who are introverts rising to managing positions. They just do it slightly differently. So maybe one suggestion for me is to find somebody who is an introverted leader in your org and talk to them, ask them for lunch or coffee chat and ask how did they got a promotion, what helped them, and collect stories like that and see if you can repeat some of that. Okay, the next one that we're gonna take is the working from Kyle. Kyle, if you're here, feel free to unmute yourself and ask it about the large company that is filled with overly competitive PMs and how can you differentiate yourself. So Kyle, are you with us? I guess it's a no. So I'm just going to read it out loud. So Kyle has asked, working at a large company filled with high-level PMs, it seems like everyone is always trying to self-promote. This ends up with a lot of noise about everyone's efforts, and it seems hard to differentiate yourself in this sea, even if you're landing a lot of impact. Any suggestion from you for how to get more visibility in an environment where everybody actively self-promotes? So I would say that here, the best strategy would be to do something that most of the people don't do. So if everybody is posting about their achievements on Slack, do something different. Maybe you create a presentation and you send it over email to selected people and they will read it. Or you have a bi-weekly update call. And instead of posting just on Slack, you invite relevant people to this call where you quickly share, or maybe it's going to be a Loom or something like that. So try to differentiate and just don't follow the suit. And my advice would be not to focus on self-promotion and saying that you're landing impact. Tell what you're doing, like be more constructive. It's not about being visible in every meeting and always raising hands. It's about saying that what I'm doing is working and always have a track record and try to build a narrative. Try not to make things that this is just a one-off. It's like, we're building this because in the past we built another feature and it worked and it gave us knowledge. So we're building this version 2. And next we're going to build in version 3. So always build this narrative because this is what a strategy. It's a collection of actions that make sense together. And you should be saying, why is that? So if everybody is self-promoting, I would recommend to do it in a different way. So maybe don't post on Slack like everybody else, but send an email or do a video presentation, something like that. And hopefully that will bring you success. But it's very interesting to see a company with a lot of competing PMs because it's actually, from my experience, not that popular, but I would be interested to learn more about it. So if you want, you can find it on social media and we can chat about it outside of the call.
Cool. The next one we have with 9 upvotes from Kara. Kara, if you're here, we welcome you to unmute yourself. You want to share more context?
Hi guys, how are you? Forgive me, I'm in the office today, so it can be a little loud in here, so I stayed muted. So if you didn't catch it from the question, I actually work over at Disney. We're a really big company. I work specifically for Disney Experiences, so here at our theme parks, you talked about organizing a team independently. That would be nearly impossible here. That's not how we're structured or formatted. And politics many times would even impede your ability to do so. So I think in the time that I've been, in tech and digital with Disney, I might have seen 1 or 2 people be able to pitch forward an idea, but that's related to things that might be broken already. So what are your suggestions for those of us that sort of don't work for small self-organizing companies and are a little bit subject to the machine that's a Fortune 100 that is driven by our financial model and sort of things are the way they are, but you still want to make an impact?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good question. We actually had SVP of product at Disney coming into our course, and we had, I think, a question about what to do when your manager doesn't support you necessarily, in like direct manager in your new ideas. His response was, well, maybe you need to find a different team or a different company. Working at service now, I understand what you're saying in terms of politics. I think it's been always difficult. I think number one is trying to get that buy-in from your direct leader, because if this is where your door closes, it might be difficult to go any further, because in a way, yes, they do open the door to director level, to talk with senior director level, etc. So if your manager is not supporting you on this journey, maybe it's a time to reconsider and maybe look for a different team if somewhere things are looking better, or maybe more opportunities for promotion. I would be also very clear about your career goals with your manager, if you haven't been so far, to make sure that they know that your goal is to grow, and then either on a managerial path, leadership path, or maybe it's on the IC path. Sometimes talking about that with your manager and adding more clarity helps for them to understand what you're actually looking for. You can always ask them for if they see any opportunities, because sometimes, in the bigger companies, you might find something, but it's going to get blocked because, well, maybe it's not connected directly to the priorities. Maybe you misread the signals somewhere. Maybe your manager knows a little bit more than you do. And that's why we kind of suggest, given that signals framework, to go outward. So where you are, start talking with your manager and maybe his peers, then levels above, and then reading the market. But sometimes we misread the signals, and we can get a better idea maybe by talking with our leadership, maybe by making friends in other departments, as many friends as possible, so that you can get a better idea. And maybe directly asking your manager for a stretch project, for a stretch initiative. Because again, if you pitch in something that is not being met, well, maybe there is a reason for that. So maybe asking first for, if there is any stretch project that you want me, or I would like to lead, can you tell me a little bit more about it? So that's, a couple of thoughts for you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks,
asking a question.
I'll take the next one. It's from Mukul. And Mukul, are you with us? If you want, you can unmute yourself and ask your question live with a bit more context. Hi.
Hi. So in most of the companies where I have worked, I've seen like the management has some top goals. In companies which are following OKRs, they have it like OKRs, and it's always top down, right? At the max, at your level, you might do some process related thing with your team and with your stakeholders, but mostly it is all top down. So when you have an idea, when you have gauged some idea, how do you promote it up to the management?
So I think the first step what I would do is to talk to the managers and ask, why do we do exactly that? Like, what's the logic behind? And they probably tell you that we need it for strategic reasons because of ABC. And that could be either for, let's say, market expansion, or because we want to improve this KPI. So there should be some kind of logic that if you have a very structured company with OKRs that is top down, they cannot just come up with crazy, I hope they don't come up with crazy ideas and just tell you what to do top down, but they have a reasoning. And that usually is based on numbers. So the first step is ask for those numbers. So like, I would like to understand why I should be doing that. I don't disagree that I will do that, it's fine, but I would like to know more context, like what will it lead to? And then probably you will end up with something like, depending on the product area, maybe it's saving costs, maybe it's increasing revenue, maybe it's increasing acquisition, maybe something else. And it's okay, I get it. Is it an important target for us, like to save costs? And they probably say, yeah, this is our goal for the 2024 because it's a recession and everybody's saving costs, so that's why we're doing this project. And then you can ask, I have a few ideas, I will go think about it, and probably I will come up with a few ideas how to save costs. What do you think would be the best course of action for me to pitch those ideas? So start speaking their language and try to recruit them to be on your team. And then if you and your manager are aligned together, you can discuss your ideas. And if they make sense, maybe they will be put in the roadmap for the next cycle. Probably this cycle that is coming down from the top, it's impossible to change. But think about what's going to be happening next quarter and like, how can I influence that? If that is set in stone, or there is room for opportunity, because maybe I come up with a brilliant opportunity to save costs that is better. That is what right now on the table. Or maybe we can do something on the side, which is not too hard. It will be a little bit extra effort, but it's going to be a very nice cost saving as well. And I know a lot of stories from companies like Amazon and so on that are pretty massive, and there are bottoms up initiatives from employees that are actually getting delivered and they show significant impact. So I think the keys here is to understand the KPI strategy and the logic, and ask your manager to be on your side. Like, if I have ideas, what would be the best way to pitch that? Can you support me? How do you think we should approach them? So kind of assume that you are a team of two and think together with them. I think that's a good start, and the manager can lead you in the right direction. They probably know a little bit more than you do with their visibility and horizon. So ask them for support, ask them for advice. And I think that would be a nice first steps.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of talking in their language. I think that is something which we miss always. We come up with our plan and we don't really talk. We don't really say what they want to hear.
Yes, this is the biggest turning point for any product manager. The moment you start understanding the business and you talk in terms of revenue, acquisition, retention, monetization, and so on, you're going to the different level. You're immediately going to be recognized as somebody who gets it, and then you'll be invited to the table. That happened to me as well. That happened to Katia as well. And quite a few people that I know is really understanding the business and starting to talk business language with your manager and with the rest of the leadership. That's what they do, because they don't talk about designs anymore. They talk about APIs and infrastructure. They don't care. They don't have time. They're high level. So you need to be able to understand their picture and speak on their language. Then they will say, yeah, you get it. Do that. I trust you. And then you do all the little details. That's a very transformative moment. I really recommend to understand the business and how you make money, how you lose money, and what's your quarterly goals and yearly goals. It's super helpful.
Sure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Dani. I think what helped me and actually other PMs in the past is to start your own business, because this is where you learn firsthand how to learn the business talk. How do you make money? How do you lose money? How do you grow? So if you have time for that and you want to experiment, that's another way to get closer to business and understand how it works. Cool. So we'll take a look at Maddie's question. Maddie, if you're here, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you.
Hi.
Yeah. So my question is a little bit on the flip side of the last one, so it's timely. I wanted to see if you had any advice for getting those opportunities to really lead high impact projects when the upper leadership, their kind of default is to be too involved or feel the need that they need to kind of lead every high impact project, and how to sort of get around that to be able to actually get the opportunity to lead it and not have them take over.
How big is the company?
It's pretty large, but it's like I work in a division within a much larger company, and so the sort of executives of my area are who I'm sort of interfacing with in these kind of situations.
Got it. Thank you. Okay, well, I'll share kind of what comes to my mind. Sometimes managers do have, and leadership, they do have a problem with letting it go. It might be difficult. What I see a little bit of a challenge in your question is the way you even ask how to get opportunities. So I would like for you to even think about, instead of getting opportunities, how to identify opportunities. So that's kind of like the first thing that comes to my mind, kind of really inviting yourself. The second is about actual, if they want to lead it, maybe to participate with them first, right? Because maybe there is a reason why leadership doesn't want to let go of control. It might be personal issues and experience, or it could be lack of trust that other people deliver the way they want it. So maybe there is a chance for you to participate in one of those high stakes initiatives and slowly grow from just a participant, kind of like level higher, getting closer to those who lead, and helping them to build trust in your abilities, in your skills, and in your experience. Sometimes that might help to for them to kind of feel like, okay, yeah, Maddie, she can do it. Another thought that comes to mind is partnering up. So maybe building a relationship with one of those leaders, and really trying to, first meet for a few one-on-ones, trying to understand what keeps them up at night, what's really important. What's the next big initiative or challenge they're trying to solve, and maybe partnering up with them together on this. So kind of like a co-lead, or maybe the, kind of in some other role, but being very close to them. Dani, do you have other thoughts on this?
No, I think it's valid advice. And I'm just looking at the time that it's 2 minutes to the top of the hour. So I think it's a good time to wrap up. And maybe as a closing thoughts, I think that it's really what you said. It starts with you and with your mindset. Don't be in the waiting position until somebody comes your way. Try to identify, try to listen to signals and see where you can plug yourself in. If it doesn't work, you will get pushback. But if it's a great idea, you're probably going to see support. So for me, it's just keeping trying that, and maybe you won't do it next week, maybe you won't do it next month, but it's a skill. It will develop over time. You will understand the business and how it works and how you contribute, and then you will position yourself naturally, because every product manager is a smart person. Like, you won't be here if you wouldn't be a talented person. So you will position yourself naturally in the right way once you understand it. It's a question of skill.
Thank you. And something else to add to that, look at your company and see how other people, such as yourself, have been promoted historically, right? Because you might see that none of them got promoted or gotten opportunities, and there is reason for that. And maybe that's time for you to reconsider where you are, if you are in this time of your career when you're looking for to make bigger impact, more opportunities. Or if you see a clear path that, oh, I actually have a few PMs who've done this and this, and this is how they've got where they want to. Or maybe there's kind of like a playbook or something to borrow from them, and then kind of follow similar path. So look what kind of historically your company have done. And I think it relates both to the smaller startups as well as companies such as Disney. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for staying extra 15 minutes. Great questions. We really appreciate them. It's obviously a very important and hot topic. It seems like it always is.